I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
We're twin flames in union, back to answer some questions. These are still questions from June, I think, that we didn't get through all of them. So we are back to finish answering questions in July. And before we start answering, I have to explain our little decorations because I'm very proud of them.
Go ahead.
It was Canada Day on July 1st. It's now July 10th that we're doing this, so we're a little past Canada Day. But still, they're so pretty up there. And you can't really see them, but they're actually little hearts with Canada Day flags. They made me very happy.
And
yes, go ahead.
And back during the winter, we were at a friend's place doing arts and crafts. While everybody else was designing gingerbread houses and everything else like that, I was kind of sitting back in the corner, quietly putting together pipe cleaners in the shape of a Canadian flag. Oopsie. So
this
anyway,
is Rob's beautiful talent, and it's even got the little
bottom
thing.
bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got that done. Everybody was going, "What were you doing?" But they were more curious than anything, because it was very, very simple, and I was really done in quite the hurry.
So happy belated Canada Day to all our Canadian friends, and happy belated Independence Day to all our American friends. We did wish you all a happy Canada Day in our last story video because we actually did it on Canada Day on Heart Mountain, which was really cool. But anyway, that all aside, we still have some questions to answer from our last
batch.
Yes, batch. So we didn't even ask for a new batch because we're going to get through the old batch.
Now, I also think that this is a bit of a conspiracy because we did something that we rarely do. We both reviewed the questions, and I've come to a conclusion that what Angie does is she takes all the batches of questions and puts them easiest to hardest.
I do not.
Okay.
Do not.
And for that reason, the last time we did like the first half of this batch, I could actually understand the questions. This time I'm reading the questions going, wow, some of these are pretty hard. How did they all end up at the end?
So, okay, we'll manage.
Yes, we'll actually do probably quite fine. But
I'm just going to move this because it's like in our face. They can't see it, but I can see it.
Oh, yeah, we got all sorts of little cursory bits.
There, that's better.
Move stuff out of the way. And
there we go. Okay, now we're and Rob is the one that asks and reads the questions because I'm just not really good at it. I was reading them to him and I was stumbling all over the place. So if I was to read them to you guys, I'd really be stumbling all over the place. So I'm not the reader. You're the reader.
She's being very hard on herself because she read them quite well.
Being honest.
Okay, first question. Did you and Rob have many Earth lives together? Have you been in physical union in these lives? This is all one question with lots of little questions in it. And does it make a difference where one twin has a lot of Earth lives while the other is living in higher dimensions? Does it make a difference regarding union in this lifetime, especially if twin and karmic partner have had many lives together? This is a lot of questions in a question. This is going to be kind of fun. First of all, did we have any other Earth lives together? Yes, we did.
We remember two, sorry.
Yeah, there is two that I remember. One is a sort of a just barely remember because I've just got just little almost snapshots of visualizations of it. And we've conferred notes, and we call that our Egypt life.
Yes.
And the second one is a little bit more from a early medieval time or maybe mid-medieval time. We call it our castle life.
Yeah, my favorite life ever.
Yeah, that one we both had pretty good memories of, especially for one major event. But we'll get to that one second. Let's do the Egypt one first, and I have to let Angie do most of the talking because like I said, I've just got like still photographs in my mind.
So yeah, what I know of our Egypt life, and I learned this through a Reiki session that I had done with who I call my Reiki lady. What I learned from that life is I was in Earth or on Earth in a sort of like experimental thing. So I was kind of here as a hybrid from another planet, and I was not to have any sort of romantic relationships with any of the humans. I was just here to learn about the humans and sort of um, not experiment, but sort of work with them in a different way. And I ended up meeting him and got romantically involved.
Human.
Yes.
Not supposed to be with human.
That's right. So I don't know why it wasn't allowed. It wasn't allowed for my planet. I wasn't supposed to interact with people, but I don't know why it wasn't allowed for him not to interact with me as well. I don't know what the rules were on Earth that we weren't allowed to interact. But at that time in Egypt, there was a lot of rules, and we both got punished, I'll say. He got put into jail, and I ended up having to go back to my planet. And I wasn't, like, my planet's high evolved beings that are about love, so it's not like I was punished. But I was, it was explained that you kind of crossed the rules and the boundaries, and you weren't supposed to do that.
Recalled for a consultation would be my political speak term.
I like that. Recalled for a consultation.
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, we were not in union in that life. And what's interesting about that life is that is how I understand why, when Rob and I were together 20 years ago, spirituality kind of freaked him out, because he remembered our connection and the punishment that he had from it. So when I started turning all spiritual on him, it just kind of like he wanted not a whole lot to do with me back then.
There was triggers that I didn't understand 20 years ago that, well, they would have been coming to me as triggers from way back in the Egypt life. Being with her when she was very spiritual and more observational back then created troubles, so that would create troubles again now. It was just a dim memory of some type.
So what my job was when I learned about this in 2014, through my Reiki session, I was being worked and coached on how to heal that time frame. So I had to do a lot of work with Rob telepathically, and we'll get into that in a bit, because there are some questions about telepathy and how did I, communicate telepathy with him and all of that sort of stuff. But I was guided to do a lot of work on the 5D level to heal that life in order for both of us to be able to move forward without the fear of being punished for being together. So it's very interesting how past lives can affect this current life. And until we do the healing, not only on this earthly plane, but in the higher realms, to heal some of the old triggers, they can definitely affect things.
Castle life.
Yeah, that's my favorite life.
Castle life is quite fun, but we were barely together.
Yes.
To set the stage, she was part of royalty, and I was more like a senior stable hand, someone that was in charge of all the horses and some of the other animals and whatnot that
I need
were
you to lift your leg,
part of the.
My leg's going numb. I'm sorry to interrupt.
We
technical difficulties.
We scrunched ourselves all together here. Our legs were all kind of tangled up, and I guess I was putting her leg to sleep.
Yes.
That's okay. My left foot down here was going to sleep too, so I might enjoy the break.
It's too early in the video for legs to go numb. I'm like, I got to adjust this. Okay, carry on. I'm sorry.
And it's not like we're sitting on chairs. No, we're sitting right down here on the floor, and by the way, it's nothing extra here. It's sort of like the news anchor. You don't know whether or not below the desk whether he's got any pants on or he's just in a set of boxers. No, we're all fine here.
I'm in a dress, so
Yeah.
By the way, I'm dressed for Stampede. That's why I got my little jean jacket on.
It's Calgary
Stampede.
time.
Yeah. Okay, now we're way off topic.
Tangent. Whoa, back on track.
It's too early for tangents. Oh boy.
Castle life.
Castle life, yes.
Here we go again. Oh. How do we ever get through these question and answers? They just bring up so much stuff. The castle life. Okay, so here I am, stable hand kind of person, and she's riding a horse. We're by a big tree along one of the trails not far from the stables, sort of halfway between the stables and the castle. And we are obviously very much enamored with each other. We're chatting, But I'm saying that we can't be together because she's royalty and I'm common person. It just can't be that way, and I'm trying to send her on her way.
And I was heartbroken. I thought he didn't really love me because I mean I was literally willing to give up how I call it just for fun as my princessness. I was a princess. So I was willing to surrender my royalty, surrender being a princess and go live with him as a commoner, and I didn't care if I was shunned by my family and everything else. I didn't care about breaking rules. I just wanted to be with him, and it didn't matter what I had to do it. And he said no. So I felt rejected. I felt like he was like, no, I don't love you enough to want to be with you. But in truth, he loved me so much that he did not want me to give up my life. So he was willing to live without me so that I could have the life that I was supposed to have. How's that for true love? We were both willing to give up things of our lives to help the other one. And
It just wasn't right, that life.
no,
There's too much for her to lose. And you can't ask or expect somebody to give up everything when they're in that phase of life, to step way down. Just to, you would have, but it just wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been right. It would have been too upsetting for everything, and I probably would have lost my job anyway.
yes, because you worked for the castle.
I worked, yeah. I was working for the royalty, so no, it just wasn't right. It wasn't necessary, I guess would be the real word. Of course, it was sad. I remember feeling sad.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of meditations or even dreams about that time of my life, and it was very, very sad. So, in this life, to lose you the first time was really, really sad because I was casting you away again. This time I had to push a little bit harder. Both of us being commoners, I had to say go. I had to fire you.
Yes.
And then when the second opportunity came around again, I wasn't going to lose it again. Hence why we now have our second chance this life.
Yay.
So that was our castle life. And I don't recall any other lives together.
No,
in any.
that's all I remember out of all the past life. I've done a lot of past life regressions, and in fact, just a little tiny side note. We're not going to get into this a lot, but I did a QHHT session last night, my very first that I've ever done, and it was awesome. I haven't even reviewed it because I just need some time to like process it, but I did record it all. If I'm like happy with how it all turned out when I actually watch it, I will post it so you guys can all experience it too if you're interested. But it's interesting. The past life that came through had nothing to do with you. So again, like you weren't there. So we like in all the past lives that I remember that I've experienced, only two with us. So not a lot.
I've got 4 past lives that I remember, 2 with Angie, 2 without. So the castle life would have been about 12, 13, 1400 years ago, and the Egypt life would have been relatively double that. 2,500 years ago, maybe 3,000.
Wow.
So, okay.
So what was the other part of that question?
Another part of the question is what if one twin has a lot of Earth lives while the other is living in higher dimensions? And does it make a difference regarding union in this lifetime? It's, to me, this is really quite up to a little bit of debate. But when a soul gets split into 2, it's like double the opportunity to learn. It can take one portion of itself and let it experience more 3D experiences, while the other portion can remain in 5D and continue learning and expanding there. So it's a double opportunity. And when it comes to both of us being together, it's just a combination of where our soul halves have been, our 2 pieces.
Our 2 whole halves?
Our 2 pieces.
Our 2 half holes?
Yeah.
How do you say that?
Nope, not going there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, yeah, it's just accumulation of experience and acceleration of experience
Mhm.
because being in two different places can actually be a benefit.
Well, like, especially like a lot of your lives have been in war times,
Military
and yeah,
style.
like airplane, military, train stuff. Whereas most of my lives have had to do with some sort of healing as a healer, a witch, all of that kind of stuff.
A princess.
Yes, yay. Hence why I still love pink, because and the
Princessy.
whole princessy thing. Yep. Don't get me on that tangent. I'll be here all night
I
on
like
that one.
I like white horses.
Yes. So, we've had the whole gamut of experiences, and that just helps us blend more into union. So, as far as the question in terms of what if one has had more earthly lives than the other, while the other one's been in the higher realms, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter because you're still one energy. So, when you come back, when you're both back in spirit, even actually when you're not in spirit, you're still sharing energy. So, if one is experiencing something, in a life, the other one is still getting it on some level because it's much like we talk about with the mirroring and all the other things. Even in terms of, if you're doing the healing work, your twin is getting the benefit as well. So if you're having a life while your twin is still in spirit, they're getting the benefit and the lessons and the growth just as much as you are. So I don't believe that it affects union at all by one twin maybe having more lives or less lives or lives on other planets versus Earth. I think your one soul in two bodies decides what it wants to do and how it wants to grow. And together you make those decisions.
And the last little bit of that question was also to do with, and I'm going to interpret it a little bit. I'm going to throw some of my own flavor in it. What if one twin has been having a lot of lives, but also with the same karmic partner?
Oh, yes.
Hmm, that's actually a great question because
Mm-hmm.
that would be a very close soulmate style relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if you're having the same lives with one person over and over again.
So let's just throw out a scenario here. Let's have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
Spiritual twin and matrix twin.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got another spiritual twin and another matrix twin.
Okay.
What if the two matrix twins are having a lot of lives together, and the two spiritual twins are in the fifth dimension
that
doing
just
a learning?
opens a whole new door. Now we're going to get a
Yeah,
whole pile of questions on that one.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because that's because I would be thinking, well, yeah, but what if, well, yeah, okay. That's very confusing. I do not feel qualified to answer that question.
You just muddied the waters
Yeah,
greatly.
it was a great scenario, but I can't really comment on it.
Fascinating, though, really.
But
That's fascinating
sure,
to think of.
because then you would have two souls that have twinned, but two souls working together to learn together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So if you're here now with me representing one twin, where's the other two twins? Where's the other twin couple?
Maybe they're here too.
Maybe they're on Earth too.
Yeah.
That would be really freaking bizarre.
That would be.
Haven't found them yet.
Well, maybe we haven't. We just don't know it.
Or maybe they're in spirit world right now looking down at us saying,
that could be too.
Come on, you two. They're probably saying, come on, you two, go on to the next question.
That's right. They're saying, hurry up and answer the question and move on.
I'm not supposed to be making more questions. We're supposed to be answering them.
That's
but
right.
That was a interesting little tangent that jumped into my mind.
Now, can I answer the question?
I'm going to let you answer the question.
Now, it had to do with karmic partners?
That question or my question?
No, I'm not answering your question.
Yeah, okay.
No.
That's fair.
That's fair, yeah. Too confusing. By the way, I have to show them this because we're just...
Oh, yeah. We're here.
We're such funny people. Okay. Oh, boy. If you're with a karmic partner in many lives, while your twin is either off in their own lives or where they're off back in spirit, again, I don't think that matters at all to union. I think when When you and your twin choose the life that you are coming to um, Earth together, that you're incarnating together. That's the word I was looking for, incarnation. I'm distracted. I'm petting a dog while I'm talking, and apparently I can't multitask tonight. If you incarnate at the same time, it is my belief, and this isn't gospel, this is just my belief, but it is my belief that you have come with the intention of.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Now he's taking my hand away from the dog. You have come with the intention of uniting. There's no guarantees if you're going to or not, because nobody knows the soul's plan other than the soul of those two twins. But it is my belief that if you've come to Earth together, you've come with the plan of uniting. So it doesn't matter how many lives you've had with other people, you've had those lives for growth, for learning, for experiences. And it just makes you more enhanced, more wise, more knowledgeable when you come here in this life or whatever life that you come to unite.
Okay.
That was a long answer to a question.
And I still don't have an answer at all, so I'm going to remain commentless.
Okay, that's a good idea. Let's go to the next question.
Next question.
Yeah.
They only get harder from there.
Yeah. We lost our little time thing, which I kind of like having. See, we're like 20 minutes in and we answered one question.
Actually, we answered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions.
Fine. That's a good way to look
within
at it.
one entry. So
okay.
we're doing really well.
Great. We keep losing it. Maybe if I go, oh, there, that's the trick. Okay.
Okay. In one of your videos, you mentioned that your souls were from different star systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're Sirian, I'm Palladian.
I'm wondering how that could be since twins are the same soul. Okay. I realize that twin flames live many lives on their own path, going in different directions, but are still always together. Is that really true? I think that if one twin is in 5D, they can be freaking anywhere.
Yes, but you're always together energetically.
Yes.
No matter where you are.
Ah. Okay. Sometimes they would like some places more than others and consider them their home.
Mm-hmm.
It just awoke my curiosity that you mentioned that, and I would like to hear you explain it. Okay, so going back to thought from different star systems. Yes, you're Palladium, I'm Sirian.
Yes. And it's not like we have, the expert opinion on this. We're just, that's what we remember. I very much resonate with the Pleiades and everything that describes Palladian beings, and you much more resonate with Sirians.
Yes, we've seen some very good explanations of the various types of personalities and traits and gifts that people have coming from different different systems, and I'm very much right down the middle of being Sirian.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily mean we haven't both been on other planets and experienced other star systems. How I take it is that just is like kind of our home planet. It's our home place where we resonate the most with. And does that mean that, things are weird if you've come from different planets, different star systems? Not at all. It doesn't mean you can't unite. It doesn't mean that your souls aren't connected. Again, we have different experiences. He's had different lives than I've had on Earth. So we can have different lives on different planets.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like the last question where, one's experiencing life on a living planet, be it Earth or somewhere else, and the other one's been living in 5D. It's just two different 5D starting points.
Yeah.
So very similar in concept.
Yep.
Again, I like the idea of different experiences for the two halves of the soul. Just more ammunition. There's my military backgrounds again.
Yeah.
More ammunition for the learning.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any more questions on that question?
No more questions on that no more answers either.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. I got lots of okay going on tonight. I've just noticed that. Speaking of which, do you notice that you make the same important choices in many occasions? Like in the beginning, Angie was the runner because of past hurt, then Rob became running because of overload and stress. When you reconnected in 2014, you both decided to leave your karmic partners. Since twins share the same soul essence, I think it may be true that twins would make many of the same choices in any given situation. What do you think about this? Do you think that this is a fact in twins?
I don't think it's a fact. I think because we have our own independent lives, because we are, still a whole being in and of ourselves, we have free will to make all sorts of different choices. Just because we're the same energy, we can come from different perspectives within that same energy. Like there's going to be a question later where somebody asked, how come one twin can choose to have children while the other twin doesn't? Luckily for us, we both chose consciously not to have children.
And we don't know why we were so
adamant about that.
Adamant.
Yeah. But I do believe you can have, yes, the same choices, but also different choices. And that it doesn't mean that you're imbalanced if you have different choices, or it doesn't mean that you can't have union or anything like that. It just means you're a whole individual by yourself and can make your own choices.
And going back to the question, it says, when you reconnected in 2014, you both decided to leave your karmic partners. Our separations from our karmic partners, the pathways that those two situations took were completely different.
Which we're actually going to share in our next story.
Our next story video has to go through that. I am so not looking forward to telling that part of the story.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
It's full of bits and pieces that I would rather maybe not remember, but it's part of the story, so I'm going to have to get over it and choke through a combination of embarrassment and everything else and continue on with the story. But we're not telling story right now.
And it's not like, actually, just to answer that question from that perspective, we didn't even both make the same choices in terms of ending relationship with our karmic partners. So that's a perspective where, yes, we both made the decision we wanted to move forward together with each other in union, but we chose differently on how to move forward with exiting our lives with our karmic partners.
The exit for Angie was very much like a manifestation, where she was able to manifest that her karmic partner did a lot of the breaking up work.
Yes. I did my work in 3D.
Where for me,
I was 5D, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I was the one throwing the grenade. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, just different choices.
Yeah.
Now you were going to say something and I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Now you're trying to find your trail back.
Well, going back just a little bit further into the question, Angie was a runner because of past hurt, and Rob became running because of overload and stress. It was very interesting how, as we were coming back together, you have two people that are making big circles, and then all of a sudden they start to work their way back together, and it's still the same circle, but it's getting closer and closer and closer together till all of a sudden it works. It was a line of decisions, but for me, it became very evident that I could no longer fight our connection. So it turned instantly from, if I can't fight it, I'm going to embrace it, and that switch was flipped like that. Now I had to still trust and believe and work on it and empower myself through various forms of 3D actions to make it so that we could be together. But the empowerment came from acceptance. Angie had already gone through the acceptance a long time ago, well, when she started into understanding twin flames. That was a long time ago, a long time before me, a long time before I found out. So whether or not we made similar decisions along the way that brought us back together, that's pretty hard to diagnose.
And I think I just want to like caution people. I know some people may be wondering about this question in terms of, well, if I choose to leave my karmic partner, is my twin going to do that? And if I choose union, is my twin going to do that? I would just caution you to not make those decisions in terms of, well, if I do this, my twin will. No, you have to make those decisions because they're the right decisions for you, and know that your twin will catch up and make the decisions when it's time for them. It could be that they're not done with their work with their karmic partner and they still have learning to do.
One of these times I'm going to break off on a tangent.
One of these times? But like all the time.
And this isn't going to be it. It might be another question and answer bit, but I sat down one night when I was feeling all connected and getting information just downloading to me like crazy. And I wrote down 7, 8, 9 stages of twin flameism, where you start out with not even being aware that you're twin flames, to having awareness of twin flames but no hope of being together, or one being aware and the other one isn't, or both being aware but not capable of making a choice. Eventually you get to a stage of twin flameism where you're in union. And all these different stages were all capable of happening in a lifetime, but also it was very possible that the awareness would stop at one of those stages that did not necessarily include total union, but at least recognition. That was tough. That was tough to write down, because I really honestly believe that, yeah, if you're going to be alive at the same time together, going back to a comment previously in this video, if you're going to be alive at the same time, there's opportunity for union. You wouldn't really do that to yourself. You wouldn't throw yourself into that torture to not have that capability. I guess it's what blocks are still in the way. Like if someone's unwilling to accept or learn or understand or make the leap for a long time, sometimes a long time can take a bit too long.
So I think we covered all that.
I'm going to go on to the next question.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a bit of a long question.
Yes. And it looks a little broken up grammatically. I'm struggling with this to read it.
Yeah, you might find that.
Yeah, I might have to just rebuild that. I'm going to step on beyond that and then come back to it.
Okay. You're good at doing that. So you'll find your way.
Except the rest of it's an example. The real wording here is how not to get energetically affected by your twin. For example, if the other is not doing any work and just bottling up emotions like dark times, or not working through the dark shadows, and when it overwhelms them, it could energetically affect you while you're doing all of your other work. Oh, right. And then suddenly your heart and throat chakra are both choked no matter what you do. So in other words, what happens if you have one twin that is absolutely struggling and another twin that is normally stable? Can that struggle really affect the other twin, even though they're not in contact? So the energeticness between the twins. From my experience here on this humble earth, whatever is happening to one twin is at least slightly felt by the other. It's almost, I don't even know if it would be a blessing to not feel the other twin, because that would be too far disconnected. I'd rather have had what I had, which was slightly being affected to sometimes heavily being affected by what Angie was doing.
And a good example of that is after we had broken up. We broke up in January of 1998.
Yeah.
In February, early February, I was so suicidal that I was planning to commit suicide. And just as I was leaving my apartment to
do that.
Yes. You called me. We weren't even together anymore, but you called me because you could feel something was not
I could
right.
feel something was really
It was
wrong.
at the busiest time of your day when you're doing an order input and you didn't even have time to call me, but you called me anyway because you could feel it. So, yes, I mean, you're connected. So you can feel each other. Absolutely.
It's a really long question, and it deals with everything from emotional connection to spiritual connection to whether or not you can actually physically feel. For example, if one person is feeling really overwhelmed, does the other person maybe even physically feel sick and they don't know why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think they're kind of asking, like, what do I do with this? If
I
I
turn for a
know
leg to go to sleep.
if I
Ouch.
know it's not my energy and I know it's my twin, how do I manage it? What I would suggest is meditate, whatever that is for you. Again, we've talked about meditation can be many things to many different people. So, however you connect within yourself, and you can send them energy, you can send them healing, you can sort of separate the energy. Of course, we know you're a twin flame, you cannot cut the cords, but you can sort of give them back their energy and not carry it for them if you feel that's right. Sometimes it's not for you to work on and help them heal through, sometimes it is. Again, that's why it's so important to connect within to determine what's the right thing in that situation because every situation is different. You were going to say?
Yeah, I'm having lots of small little aha moments. Uh, I can't I can't recommend what I'm going to say, but I can say that it could be a benefit if it's appropriate. If you got if you got a twin that does not know that they're a twin, one as in one knows they're the twin, but the other half of the twin does not know this
Right.
or know anything at all about twin flames, it may be a benefit for them to have a little bit of knowledge and understanding so that when they're feeling completely off for reasons that they don't understand, they might have a hope of understanding that it's not them going crazy in their mind. They could be getting feelings and understandings and communication
Mm-hmm.
from their twin.
Mm-hmm.
When Angie and I were together the first time, we didn't understand about twin flames, but we definitely had the understanding of our connection. So therefore, because I had the understanding of the connection, I was able to accept that we had some ways of communicating that I didn't understand and a lot of times didn't participate in consciously, but at least I knew it was there. That would be really rough if you had no idea whatsoever.
It can be, yes. Going back to this person's question, they were also addressing the fact that because they're feeling all of this and they don't know what to do with it, they're going back into old behaviors of their own that they don't like, addiction behaviors and stuff like that. That's where it's so important to find your balance because, again, just because we're connected with our twin flame, we're not responsible to own their stuff. Yes, we may be guided to help them, like I was with Rob, send energy, telepathic communication, stuff like that. But we're not here to save them. We're not here to fix them. We're here to guide them, support them energetically, physically, however. But if we are being triggered to the point that it's affecting us, that's when we got to take responsibility for our own stuff and not put it on the twin and say, well, I'm doing this because they're going through this. No, you are your own person. We each must be whole, complete, and balanced within ourselves. Of course, that's part of getting to union is you must be in union with the self. So part of that is learning how to manage the things that trigger you or send you into old patterns of addiction or whatever and go, wait a second, how do I own this and heal it? So if you're being triggered to the point that it's causing you issues, there's some healing work there for you to do as well.
And in fact, it might be the healing work that you do that is the important bit for the twin because
Yes.
if the other twin if they're triggering you with bad bits, if they're triggering you with stuff, it could be that they're completely stuck, and that this is the area that you need to become the strong one on, or the
Yeah.
learning one on, to help the twin relationship move forward. This could be your bit to solve.
That's very good.
Might, yeah, it might be their issue, but your problem. Oh boy.
Your piece
La
of the
la
puzzle.
la. Yeah, your piece of the puzzle to make fit into the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I like that. Better than problem.
Yeah. All right, I think we can go to the next page.
Yeah. Oh, nothing on the back of that piece of paper. Okay. The question is, the person is now experiencing a disconnection between themselves and their twin. And the twin, oh, this is interesting. They must know more than just themselves to each other. Their twin told his sister that he has no feelings for me at all. And it says, I, meaning the questioner, I am not feeling him either. Just got some scattered dreams about him. Is this normal to occur during a twin flame journey? Or even though the cords are severed, I still feel slight vibrations in my body. Oh yeah, there's that word kundalini again.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. So, is it normal? Okay, we'll go with the thought that the cords were severed, because that was the point of view that the question was asked.
That's what they're feeling. They're thinking, are the cords severed because I'm not feeling my twin?
Yes.
Yeah. And my twin's not feeling me either, because he's told his sister, or he or she.
Yeah. So this person has a twin who is not divulging any connection whatsoever.
Yeah. And neither of them are feeling the other.
That'd be sad.
Well, yes and no. I went through years of that. I think we shared that in our last question and answer video. Somebody had asked.
We went through 4 years of barely even thinking about each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, birthday, send a text, gone.
Yeah. So I think that can be very normal as part of the process. You might just be in a place where you each need to just really focus on your own self, your own work, your own healing, your own growth, your own whatever. Quite frankly, I'd take that as a blessing, because I know some people, when you're in the place where you'd rather not think of your twin and all you can do is think of your twin.
There's a lot of people doing that. A lot of people that are wishing they could break away from the twin connection for a while.
But I know what it's like. You're fearful of, like, well, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not feeling them? How come I'm not missing them? Like, maybe the cords got cut. So again, just to reiterate, cords can't be cut. You are connected at a soul level. You are the same energy, and you can't cut your own energy, so you definitely can't cut the energy with another being that is part of your energy. So it could just be that your energies are in a separate state right now, and that's completely okay. Completely okay. It does not mean you're never going to come to union. It doesn't mean that either of you is wrong or broken. We went through that, and it's just sometimes part of the process, and it's all good.
I'm just feeling kind of a little bit encouraged by the question. The fact that this person's twin told his sister that he had no feelings at all. This twin that's not experiencing any feelings is actually talking to somebody else, confiding in someone else that they don't have feelings for the person who is their twin. A lot of times, twins seem to only be able to communicate with themselves, and they don't really acknowledge to anybody else that they're a twin to anybody. So that's actually a pretty big step forward, considering the twin is saying that he doesn't have feelings, but yet he's talking about those feelings that he doesn't have. I find that encouraging.
Okay.
That's an acknowledgement. That's actually a form of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
maybe they can't feel anything from it, but it's still an acknowledgement.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people don't have that much. Really.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, I totally agree with Angie that you can't completely get rid of the connection. You can shove it into the back of your mind, but that's a 3D effort.
And sometimes it just goes there on its own. It's not even like you're trying.
It just rests.
Yeah,
Because if it comes,
goes through a dormant period.
it can't completely say that it doesn't that the connection doesn't exist, or else it wouldn't be acknowledging its own existence. That's a bit of a reach.
That's profound.
That's a bit of a reach.
Mm.
Oh wow, another long question, and I'm just going to try to read this one straight out. Were we done with the last one?
Yep.
Hmm.
I think we covered it all.
Every time I try to visualize my life in union, I can't because I know I'm imagining him embracing his 5D, and he is not. He is living in the ideal 3D life with his karmic, and that seems as the only real, and what I believe would be his 5D truth. It's just my perception and imagination. So we've got one twin looking at their other twin. Their other twin is in a relationship, seems to be chugging along just fine, and the twin that is not in the relationship is trying to wonder whether or not the 5D perception is just imagination. Like, is it real, or is it just something they want to be real? I was wondering if this incapability of visualizing my future with him is something that other people are going through. Yes. Uh, and if back then, when Angie, you were doing the work and writing it that you wished you were with Rob, were you going through this? Were you wondering whether or not I was anywhere near where you needed me to be, whether I was in my 5D space,
And whether union was possible.
whether union was possible?
Do you want to do the rest, or should I answer that now?
Yeah, let's step into answering a bit of this.
Okay.
Trying to visualize my life in union. Trying to visualize it as a 5D life in union.
I think what they're saying is they're trying to visualize. So they're not in union now in 3D, but they're trying to create it, much like I was when I was writing in my journal, and I was writing everything that I wanted, even though we weren't there.
A manifestation.
I was manifesting it. I was creating it. So yes, it means you have to stretch. The dog just wrecked your Canada flag.
Dog just tripped over my pipe cleaner flag. I can fix that.
It means you need to stretch your mental capabilities and put yourself into the future, even though the future isn't here yet.
Call it manifesting.
Yeah. You have to make it real in your mind. So it's about moving past what you see in 3D and accepting that that's an illusion and create the reality that you want, because it's our thoughts, our words, our actions, everything that we say, we speak, we do that is creating. So if we keep saying, well, I can't create union, guess what? You're going to create
lack of union.
More lack of union. The more you can put effort into creating what you want, the more you bring it about. So it's about seeing what isn't yet, seeing what you want. Maybe you can't see that there's a way that your twin's going to ever leave their karmic partner and be with you, or maybe you can't see that your twin is ever going to be in a place of growth enough to be with you, or that you could be together. But if you can, use your imagination, stretch past what you think is possible, and go into the impossible. Dream. It's like, what people dream of if they ever won the lottery, all the things they would do. Do something like that. Dream about it. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. It doesn't matter if your mind thinks, oh, that's stupid, that's never going to happen. Get out of your mind. Go into your imagination. Go into your heart and write down everything that you do want, whether you think it's real or possible or not. And just put it all on paper, put it all in your mind, whatever works for you. Not everybody's a writer. It's okay. But get it out. Get it in a flow of possibility. Make the impossible possible in your mind, if that makes sense. So, also to answer the question, did I think when I was doing the work, did I think it was possible? No, I didn't. I mean, he was still with somebody else. How was I thinking this was ever going to change? I was also with somebody else, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of my relationship because I certainly wasn't going to tell him that I was ready to move on. I was terrified to do that. But I didn't care. I was just like, whatever. I'm going to put it all on paper. I'm going to dream as big as I can dream. And if it doesn't happen, well, then I've just put energy into something that's not going to happen. But I'm going to try.
If you want to manifest something, you pretty much have to embrace and believe it.
Yes. It's like that sign I had last time that's on our door that I can't see right now. I can't even remember what it says.
It's like that sign, though.
Yeah, achieve and believe. And
achieve, yes. Achieve
whatever it says. Yeah.
So, if you're already to the point where you're doing your imagination in 5D, and you're wanting / needing your twin to meet you there, don't throw a roadblock up there. Let that doorway be wide open. Believe in it. Let it happen. But nothing may walk through for a while. But no point in closing the door and opening it to have a look, and then closing the door and opening it to have a look. The opportunity might have been there when the door was closed. So just leave it open.
Yeah.
Let it be open.
And put more of your energy in what you do want than what you don't want. Again, because we are creators. It's not like we're just here sitting back and union's just going to fall in our lap. We have to do work and we have to put energy into it. Yes, there's divine timing. It's not like we can say, okay, I'm going to have union tomorrow and poof, it's going to happen. But we have to put our energy towards what we do want. And if we're constantly thinking this isn't going to happen, my twin's never going to get it, we're going to get more of that. So it's about focusing more energy on what you do want and what you can have than what you don't want and what you can't have.
It's interesting how you just have expounded on the last sentence of this very long question that we stopped halfway through. The last sentence is, I love him in 3 and 5D, but for us to be together, we both need to be different persons embracing our 5D, our truth. In our 3D realities, there is no space for a union in my mind. I can't picture it.
So picture it in 5D. If you don't see it in 3D, that's okay, because you're not there in 3D.
3Ds can change. Our 3Ds changed
huge,
massively. To use my favorite grenade, it just blew it all up, and then I had to go ahead and hammer it together differently.
Yeah.
But I hammered together our new 3D around us.
Yes, you did.
The 5D just followed right along with it.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing.
So if you can't see your 3D selves there, that's okay. See your 5D selves there. See, feel, dream, imagine whatever you can that puts you in the direction of union.
I didn't come to this relationship because I thought, wow, this is going to be a great house to live in. I came to this relationship in this house because it was going to be a great relationship to live in. And Angie didn't tell me that it was going to be a great relationship. It became a realization through all the clues and lessons that were left for me to pick up along the way. So yes, to say it again, leave the doors open. As a person who walks through them, they may choose to change their 3D. And you'd have no idea that they were picking up the 5D clues along the way to make the decision to change their 3D.
Yeah. Again, because you're connected, right? So the work that you are doing in 5D, even though their 3D self may be not getting it at all, their 5D self certainly is, and they're going to pick up on that energy, whether it's energy towards union or to energy against union.
So I go on to the next question. That was connected actually to the question we've just managed to answer. I watched the video on manifesting good in our lives. How do I balance belief in us as twin flames and yet be realistic that he is in a serious relationship with another woman? It took a long time, but it did work out for you two, so it can happen.
It can.
Realism. What stage is realism?
I don't know.
Mostly
Stage.
3.
Oh,
Yes.
I see what you mean. In 3D version.
But yet to be realistic, he is in a serious relationship with another woman.
But what is real? What is real? Our mind creates our reality. So what is real is whatever we can dream up, whatever we can imagine. And the more we can imagine it with the more detail we can put into it, the more we draw it to us. How the law of attraction works is you must be in the vibration of what you want. So if you are wanting union, you have to be in the vibration of union. If you're thinking separation but desiring union, you can't have union. And that's why we often say we must be in union with ourselves first. So it's a two-part energy thing. It works on the 3D in terms of you must have connection with yourself. That's the 3D part. But you must also vibrate at the energy level of union in order to attract a union with your twin. So,
vibrating at the energy level of union. Yes.
And so what does that mean?
You got to empower it.
Yes.
Got to empower its possibility.
Exactly.
Not think about the restrictions of its improbability.
Yes. So you have to make it possible in your mind. If you see no path there, guess what? There can be no path there. If you can create in your mind, even though you may not see it in your 3D reality, if you can create it in your mind, you can create it in your 3D reality. Because we are creators. I know I keep saying that, but it's very important that we understand that we're not just bystanders of our lives. We are the creators of our lives. We are the ones that draw to us everything that we want. And when we're in the vibration of what we want, we bring it to us. If we're in the vibration of lack of what we want, we bring back more lack.
One of my favorite words, I was going to try to get all video without using it. Didn't happen. Patience. Manifesting good in our lives. A lot of people are trying to manifest the finish line. And yet we understand that life is a journey. Life is not a one-step journey.
Yes.
Start out here and go step there, done.
Yeah.
No, go step, 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 step. I suppose I could say don't be afraid to manifest bite-sized pieces. Hi, a little bit of communication, a little bit of knowledge is another step.
Yes, I like that.
Okay, then a little bit more knowledge. Oh, I'm getting communication back. Call that another step. Sometimes in order to let something grow, like a flower just doesn't start out as being underneath a snowdrift and then 2.5 feet tall the next day. It's got to wait for the snow to melt. It's got to break up through the ground. It's got to throw up some leaves, then a shoot. Oh, then a flower on top starts, and then it opens up. It's a multi-step process. Sometimes it seems very fast. But but when you've manifested what you planted in the ground last fall, sometimes you have to wait till spring, and then it all works out.
And if you just take steps at a time, if manifesting full union is just too much and you just can't see it, you can't feel it, and you're like, I don't know how this could ever be possible, that's a brilliant idea.
Manifest the next piece.
Yes.
The next piece of hope, or the next piece that you can then call your next reality.
Yes. Love that. The next piece that what you can call your next reality. Wow.
Achieve small bits.
Yes. Love it.
And just when you think you're going to have to achieve 40 small bits, you only see, all of a sudden you only need to achieve 15.
Yep. Beautiful.
Okay. Are we ready for another
I
question?
think so.
Boy, for a real short question, but we had lots to say about that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
That's normal for us.
I love the topic of manifesting.
Me too. I'm so passionate about creating because it's what we're here to do. It's exciting.
Whoa, there's a lot of acronyms in here. Am I ready?
Okay.
What can a TF do when DF feels the massive pull of energy from DM, but DM is with a karmic and someone is pursuing the DF? I didn't catch it. I just read it.
So, just to clarify,
Divine Feminine is feeling lots of massive pull energy from the Divine Masculine.
okay.
There's your DF and your DM, but DM is with a karmic, and the Divine Feminine is being pursued by someone else. That someone else is a beautiful soul too, and all the while, Divine Masculine is texting, wanting to know more about who's pursuing the Divine Feminine. So Divine Masculine, even though they're with a karmic, is a little bit jealous about their Divine Feminine being pursued by someone else.
You did that very well.
Wow. So we got a little bit of jealousy on the go. Like, okay, I'm with someone. Okay, the Divine Masculine's with karmic, but intensely curious about who's. Ooh. So Divine Masculine knows that they potentially have a closer Divine Feminine, but they're still hanging on to their karmic. What's that all about?
I have a take on it, but I'll wait if you got.
No, I gotta let that one absorb.
Okay.
I'm just happy I was able to translate all that.
Yeah, you did very well.
I got my victory.
So how I see that is 3D level, soul level, ego, soul. I kind of said that wrong. 3D level, 5D level, ego level, soul level. So on the ego 3D level, the Divine Masculine, she's saying, is having like she can feel a massive pull to him. I'm assuming I'm saying she and he for feminine, masculine. That's not always the case, of course.
We'll go with it.
Hope we all understand, though, that a divine feminine
Example
can
A.
be a man, and divine masculine can be a female. We all have masculine and feminine within us.
Am I going to have to translate that too?
No.
Okay. I know where she's going. We can use the example the way it's presented.
I hope so.
Divine Masculine. You were saying something.
Can be a female.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm just going to use feminine as female and masculine as male just for ease, but just for clarity. Doesn't always have to be that way. So if she's feeling a pull from him, but yet he is still with a karmic partner and not ready to leave this karmic partner, yet he is asking her, like, hey, what's going on with this other person that you got going on? Like, I want to know all the details. So there's a lot going on in 3D, 5D, ego level, soul level. He is not ready in 5D to move and be with her because he's still got work to do with his karmic partner. And he may not be consciously aware of this on a human level, but his soul is very aware of this. So that's why, even though she's feeling a pull from him, because he wants to be with her, he ultimately, that's where his draw is with her, but he knows it's not time. He knows on some higher level that it's not the right time. Well, she's now got this other person pursuing her.
The beautiful soul.
Yes, because obviously she has more work to do with another person, and this could be a karmic relationship for her. Whether we want to call it a karmic partner or not, it's another connection that's going to help her grow, possibly, help her get another piece of the union puzzle, another piece of her own self that she needs to reconnect with. Um, so that's why she's feeling drawn to this person, even though she knows that her divine masculine is who she wants to be with. But she's like, this other person's a beautiful soul, and I kind of feel drawn to them. So they're feeling drawn to each other as divine masculine and divine feminine, but they're also feeling like they're supposed to be with these other people because their soul knows these other people have lessons to help them with, that they have growth and things to teach them. So that's a lot of webs going on. There's like all these connections and pulls and pushes and energies. And so it's understanding the dynamics of what's happening. The ego is like, hey, I want to be with you, and I'm kind of jealous that you're talking to this other guy, but I'm not ready to be with you because my soul, even though I may not be aware of my soul is telling me, no, I can't be with you yet. So I'm curious what's going on with you, but I can't be with you right now. Ah!
So, does the divine feminine ignore this other beautiful soul and just sit back and wait for the divine masculine to keep on learning? Or does the divine feminine decide to spend more time, that's polite, spend more time with this beautiful soul that's pursuing them? You'd have to do that for yourself. You couldn't do that to put pressure on your divine masculine. That wouldn't be of any benefit. It would have to be a situation where you realize that your divine masculine is just not ready for you and that you might as well continue on with your life. But two scenarios here. Just as soon as the divine feminine would get involved with their beautiful soul that's pursuing them, would be just the time the divine masculine would get off the pot
Totally how it happens sometimes.
and decide that it's time for union, and then they're the one out in the cold.
Yeah, and then the other person is like, well, no, I'm happy in this relationship, and I'm not ready for union. Well, that's great. That all that tells you is you're both not quite in alignment with each other yet because you're not in full alignment with yourselves yet. And that's not to say there's anything wrong. That's not to say that you're doing things wrong or that you're bad. It just means there's more learning to do. There's more growth. There's more advancement. There always is.
And isn't it so hard? Divine feminine gets involved with their beautiful soul, and then their divine masculine becomes available, and then they have to pull the plug on their beautiful soul that they've recognized. That's hard to do, and that hurts a lot.
And maybe they're not ready to do that though, because I mean, we're just projecting into the future and all these scenarios that could be, right?
Yeah.
But if you're enjoying this new connection, it means that there's something there for you and obviously for the other person, because it's always two-sided. We always come to a relationship to give gifts and learning and blessings to another and to receive them from the other. So if you're enjoying the connection, it's not time to leave it, obviously, because when a connection's ready to go,
it finds a way through one method or another.
Yeah. So my advice, of course, I'm going to give you the advice that I got to give you. You have to go within. You have to feel into it and know, do I pursue this other person? Does it feel right? Does there feel like there's a draw to this other beautiful soul, as they put it? I love that, by the way. That's such a nice way to put it.
It's nice to be able to understand and recognize other beautiful souls.
Yeah.
That's something that I couldn't do back way earlier in my life, like in my late teens and early 20s. I wasn't very good at it, but I started to see it more and more. It's one of my favorite gifts.
Yeah. So I think if you feel a draw to them, then go be with them if that feels right. But my other piece of advice is I would recommend and be very consciously aware that you're not doing it in a purposeful way to trigger your divine masculine, since he's already asking questions and wanting to know what's going on, that you're not doing it to sort of make him jealous in hopes that he'll then leave his karmic partner to be with you, because now he's like, oh, you're with somebody else, so that means I want to be with you. be careful that that's not your intent in wanting to go be with somebody else, because honestly, it will blow up.
Would, if you've decided to spend more time with your beautiful soul that's pursuing you, would you at least be honest with the divine masculine in that case and say, "Hey, it's obvious you're not ready. We are not ready to be a couple." Maybe I'd use the word we.
Maybe they're not even aware, or the divine masculine's not aware that there ever is a potential to be a couple. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not even there. Who knows?
I would be inclined to let them know and to stay in touch.
Don't close the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet to find a scenario where closing doors, slamming them, walking away. I've yet to find a scenario where that is absolutely, completely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Certainly it may feel like it, especially for your own sanity sometimes. Oh, there's a lot of people who are in the situation of that question. There is. That's a real tough one.
Yeah. All right.
Next question.
Yes. I have a sticky for this question.
Oh, 111. Oh,
nice
I just happened to. I got a clock over here that's telling me that it's 8:30 in the evening, our time. I don't know what caused me to look back over at the tiny little clock that I can barely see. It's almost, no, it's no good without my glasses. Okay, I glanced over 2 seconds early. Beautiful. It's just kind of how it is.
Yep.
I wanted to inquire about the telepathy between the two of you. I'm also getting to that point of my union where telepathy is increasing tremendously.
Yay! It's so fun.
Most often it's through songs, mainly, but also numbers, heart-shaped marks, and so on. Yeah, we get that.
Yes, we do.
But I sometimes get words and sentences coming to my mind, most often when I address my twin in meditation or when I'm focusing on him. Yet I always wonder whether it's actual telepathy from him, or is it just my imagination, making things up, telling me what I wish to hear him say to me. You know, sometimes you can make it up, but other times, if you're getting telepathy, you can't make it up. So when you can't make it up, it's telepathy. And if you can make it up, it may still be telepathy. When you've got the ones that you can't justify that came from anywhere else but your connection, just know that the telepathy connection exists, and let it just exist. Sure, yeah. Once in a while you're gonna want to make it up because it's just almost a little bit fun to wish it that way. But when you've already accepted that you have telepathy, you've got a beautiful thing. So yeah, we pre-read a bit of that question, and one of the first things I said is, she thinks I speak.
Yes.
That's often the bit. Well, something will trigger us both at the same time. We'll see something or hear something, and she will think it. And for whatever reason, I've already got the words. They're just right there. She's thought it. They're in me, and I speak way quicker than she does. She thinks. She builds a sentence. She analyzes the sentence, and then she speaks it. I sometimes just go right to speak, and believe me, sometimes that gets me in trouble. That's the old speak before you think about it thing. That sometimes happens. Oopsie.
That's true.
But the amount of times where Angie says, I was just going to say exactly that.
Oh, it happens so often.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, going back to this in terms of the wondering, is it really him or is it your imagination? I so understand that, because I can remember when we were first experiencing the telepathy, and I just thought it was crazy. I thought I was just making up all this crap in my head. So I will tell you what I did to finally have validation that I wasn't crazy and this was real. Number one, I asked for signs. I was like, okay, if this is really you talking to me and I'm not making this up, give me, and I would ask for a sign, whether it was a visual sign, whether it was a specific song, whether it was a word in a song. And then at times he would give me the validation without me even asking. If you have watched some of our story videos, there was one time he was saying the next song would have a specific word in it, and it did. And I was like, holy crap, I couldn't make that up. I couldn't do that on my own. So, okay, maybe this is real. Another way that I found very effective is to pay attention to what's being said or what's being experienced in the telepathy. Like, for example, with us, it's no secret, Rob's not really partial to the word BABY. Yet telepathically, that was a very big word for him. He would use it a lot telepathically. And so I knew I wasn't making this up because why would I use that word? I mean, I don't have children. He doesn't like the word. It wouldn't even be a thought in my head. And all of these things, like there was one time I would be meditating and he was showing me a pacifier, a baby soother. Sorry, I said the word. You can go cringe now.
I'll live.
And I was like, why are you showing me this? Like, I didn't even understand what it even meant. And he's like, I'm trying to pacify you. I'm trying to soothe you and calm you. And I'm like, wow, that's profound. So when you get profound stuff that your own mind wouldn't think of, wouldn't make up, then you can go, okay, this isn't me. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. It's just not my logical way of thinking. So just kind of pay attention to what you're getting, and then you'll be able to sort of use your discernment, use your logical abilities, and go, yeah, that's not me. I maybe don't speak that way, or I'm not that wise. At least my conscious self isn't that wise to give me that knowledge. Then it's helpful to really recognize that it's not your imagination. That was that part of the question. I think there was more too.
Yeah, it says, do you have any tips to tell the difference between the two? I don't know if I'd want to tell the difference between the two.
What, imagination versus
Versus real telepathy. I wouldn't want to start questioning it too much. Like I started saying way back in the beginning. Once you recognize you have the telepathy, let it be and let it live.
But that's what some people struggle with is they're not even recognizing if they do, much like I was. They're like, is this even real or am I just making all this crap up? Because your logical mind wants to tell you you're crazy. We often feel and think we're crazy because this connection is so far past what the logical ego mind can understand and accept. So it's our logical ego mind that's telling us this is your imagination. This is crazy. This isn't real. Don't believe it. And it takes effort to move past that. And that's part of the growth too. It's part of becoming in balance is connecting with the soul and resonating with the soul and knowing the soul's truth over what the ego is telling us. That's where the going within comes from again, is knowing your soul, having a relationship with your higher self, with the deeper aspects of yourself, and knowing your truth past what your ego tells you. Because your ego is going to try and convince you this whole relationship is confusing and not real and a bunch of crap. And, oh, you didn't believe me on that. What? We went through a whole video with no bleeps? What is going on?
I had to change a word earlier that I said to prevent me from having to bleep myself. And by the way, I was giving you the stare because I could have bleeped you, but I was going to let it be. I'm going to have to listen to that song. I'm going to have to throw on the Beatles later.
Oh,
let
no,
it be.
don't. So yes, that's where some of the balance comes in, and that's again part of the growth on the path is learning to move past the ego and into the soul or the higher self, to embrace the truth that's deeper within us, to connect with our inner compass rather than just our mind. It is often said to be on this path, we have to be out of our mind. And in truth, we do. We do, because our mind can only take us so far on this journey. It's our soul, it's our higher self, our inner being, our eternal essence. However you want to say that, there's a couple different ways of connecting with the everlasting part of us. It's learning to be in more connection with that aspect of the self rather than the mind.
I'm going to say a whole bunch of things that are completely using different words that are going to support what you just said. I'm going to be a little bit black and white about this because I'm still building this in my mind. But I really love where this is going. Just give me a minute to get this out. Many times in life, it's like a cup half full, cup half empty thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you spend your time in your life trying to start out with something that may exist and prove that it doesn't? Or do you embrace something and put your energy into try to believe that it is real? So in other words, are you trying to start from here and prove something wrong, or are you trying to start from there and prove something exists? Negative thought, positive thought.
Mm.
So if you think you have telepathy, don't I'm going to say don't try to prove that it doesn't exist. Believe that it does and work and pay attention to the times when it does exist, when it's just almost unquestionable means yes. So work positively towards understanding something as opposed to negatively. Yeah, boy, I hope that made sense.
I like it.
So there's a lot of this journey that requires leaps of faith,
Yeah.
leaps of belief.
Leaps of belief. That's good. I like that. Leaps of belief.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
No.
So yeah, I'm.
Now, was there more to all of that, or did we answer?
How do you tell the difference between the two? And also, what can I do to trust my intuition? Leap of belief.
Yeah.
Intuition is so important.
Our computer went to sleep on us. There we go.
Now we're back.
Yes, we are.
Not that we really went anywhere.
That's always our message that it's time to end our video when the computer
What
says good night.
What can I do to strengthen this telepathic connection between us? Boy, it's not like you can go out and buy yourself a can of telepathy mortar to cement it better into place.
When you use that analogy.
Let's see if we can cement this a little bit better. Get out our trowel and make a more solid telepathic connection.
But yeah, you can. You can't buy it, but
you can
create it.
You can create it. You can practice it.
Use it.
And when it works, you can put it in your own little mental can of belief and snuggle with it at night and know that it exists and it's with you always.
I love that question because I think there's tons of things you can do to strengthen it. Use it. Do it. Like when I was first starting with telepathy, I started talking to you constantly. I mean, yeah. I remember in one of our videos I shared that I was walking down the street once. I was probably walking my dog. And I remember I was talking to you out loud, and then I realized there's people looking at me. I better stop talking out loud.
They were just thinking she was on some cell phone earbud that they couldn't see.
Or maybe they thought I was on something else. But use it. It's like any other muscle, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. The more you use it, the more you strengthen it. So embrace it and that will help you start to trust it. But also you can ask for signs. You can ask for confirmation that this is real. You can ask for validation. That's all okay because we do need that. I mean, we're learning, right? So it's all about practice and getting validation. And the more validation you get, then the more you believe it. And then the more you believe it, the more you do it. And the more you do it, the more you believe it. It becomes a cycle.
And as the twin that perpetually feels that I'm catching up to Angie.
But you're not. You just have a different perspective on things.
I have to take a lot of leaps of faith and belief. And I've really learned to just do that first. Once in a while it doesn't come to anything, but I don't also call it letting me down. I just call it, well, that was a step that didn't go anywhere. Back up to the main trail and take a few more steps and step off to the side next time it feels interesting. See, it might turn into something.
Yeah.
I just don't have enough legs to step off the trail to all these little side trails I keep on finding. It's becoming very, very interesting.
Hmm.
As a final portion of that question, oh, and it's a question for Rob. When Angie received messages of telepathy from you, even though you weren't aware of it consciously, was Angie more on your mind then? Did you feel her more? I have to answer that question with a yes. I didn't know what to think of that portion of the question when I first heard it, but when the telepathy was really starting to rock and roll for Angie, it's also when we were starting to be more and more in connection.
Yeah.
I believe that it's it's part of that telepathy that I didn't necessarily understand and could feel that
Yeah.
actually allowed me to be more comfortable with being more in touch with Angie.
Mm.
So did I actually think of her more? I have no choice but to say yes, because I was in a time of my life when I was starting to think of her more. Yes. Happy answer. Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to address some questions that aren't on there, but I've had many people. Yeah, I know, but in terms of the telepathy, before we do this last one.
We're still on telepathy.
We are. Because I've had so many people private message me and go, how do I do this? Like, you had such great results with Rob in 5D and telepathically. How do I do this? So I've given a lot of people, like some people want like step-by-step instructions, and there really aren't step-by-step instructions because it's different for all of us. But I will tell you some maybe step-by-step instructions.
Do we call it basics?
Sure. We'll give you the basics.
Okay.
First of all, it's about again having a connection with ourselves, right? Because our twin is not just external to us, they're inside of us. And that's how the whole telepathy happens, is a connection within us that we have with them. So we're talking on a higher level. So we must first have that higher level communication and connection with ourselves. So how do you do that? There's lots of ways. Again, meditate, which can mean anything. Doesn't have to mean you sit quietly in a room and deep breathe like I do. It can be being out in nature. It can be petting your dog. It can be doing the dishes. It can be anything that helps you connect with your own soul, connect with the higher aspects of yourself. But it's having that relationship that makes it really easy then to develop telepathy. Other things are being aware of your energy, cleaning your energy field, and being aware of what you're putting not only in your body, food wise. There's higher vibrational foods, there's lower vibrational foods.
I hope peanut butter is a little higher vibrational food.
Because we both eat a lot of it?
We both. I've had a lot of peanut butter lately.
I don't know if it is, but that'd be interesting to look at. But it works for us, so I guess it's okay. But, obviously things like sugars, alcohol, stuff like those, very low vibrational. So if you want to increase telepathy, I would recommend staying away from things that you know for sure do not resonate with your body. Also be aware of energetically what you're allowing around you. Are you allowing toxic energy around you? Are you going to busy shopping malls or loud concerts or places with a lot of people with high energy that's maybe not as high vibrational as you want?
Do you bury yourself in work and then have to claw your way out of that energy at the end of the day and only have an hour of peace per day?
Yes. So it's really managing your energy, because the higher vibration you are, the higher vibration your field of energy is, the easier it is to connect in 5D. Because what we want to do is raise our vibration, right? The higher we are, the more we can connect, the more we open up those higher chakras. So it's also, practice can be about balancing your chakras. That's something I do daily, is clean and balance my chakras. And that, of course, opens up the connections energetically. So all of those things make a difference. Some other steps that might be useful is then to just tap into the feeling of your twin. You can, just feel into them. Because we are connected, we can feel each other. So just however you want, just resonate with them and go, what are they maybe feeling? Just sort of bubble, right? Send your energy out to them and see what comes back. Can you feel that they're sad? Can you feel that they're happy? Maybe you can't feel things, but maybe you see things. Maybe you see colors around them, or maybe you see energy around them. Who knows? But just reach your energy out to them. Other ways are much like I would do is I just talk to him as if he was sitting right beside me. It's not like telepathy has to be some challenging thing of, okay, what do I say?
Silence and meditation.
Yeah. Or what words do I say? How do I know what to say? I would just talk to you like you were right here. I would just have a conversation as if he was sitting right in front of me. I would tell him anything and everything that I didn't feel I could tell him in 3D because, of course, he wasn't ready for it at that point. But I would tell him all my worries, my fears, my concerns, my dreams, my hopes, my desires, everything. I just laid it all on the floor as if we were best friends. Because we are, right? We're the same energy. We're best friends. Yay! Even if sometimes we don't feel like we are in 3D when you're in separation. So all of those are some tips. I could go on and on, but we have to end this video at some point. And we do have one more question.
We do have another question.
Yes, I forget what it is, so we need our piece of paper back.
It's not a hardcover, it's a paperback?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Rob couldn't go video.
I couldn't go a whole video without saying something.
Without some cheesy joke. If I can't go a video without the saying of going within, then you have to have a cheesy joke. And a bleep.
I think we're going to make it without a bleep from me.
Wow.
Does it happen, why does it happen that one twin decides to have children while the other one stays child-free? I don't have statistics on that, but between the Chicago and Boston conference, it's a trend. There is a definite trend that in the world of twin flameism, that children on both sides of the relationship is less common than average.
I didn't notice that
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of singledom and childlessdom with especially the other twin, the twin that can't get away from their karmic, also having children. There's a lot of that. Now it can go the other way too. But boy, I wish I had real stats on that. Maybe that would be a question to ask some conference.
Yeah.
See if we can't pull out some hands up statistics.
Maybe we'll try that.
But somebody other than me, because they're asking the question, has noticed this. Well, what's the answer to this?
I have one.
You try your answer. I'm afraid to say my answer because me being not necessarily a perpetrator of childhoodism, I could go ahead and say something quite unfair and really quite negative, and all it would do is come across as being offensive, and I don't want to do that because I consider my bias to be a bit of a weakness, and I've been working on it for a lot of years, and I've got somewhere with it. Your turn. Go ahead, speak.
Okay. I was waiting for you to stop speaking.
Yeah. Stop right now.
So, of course, I always come from the 5D perspective because I'm just a 5D kind of person. So I'm sorry if you don't resonate with the 5D stuff. But how I understand it is in 5D, in spirit, before we even come to Earth, we make agreements, we make contracts, we make plans with other souls, and then we come down here and we play these roles out together. So if one twin has chosen to have children but the other one hasn't, then on the higher realms, you've both chosen that. You've both come with that plan in play. And for example, if it's you that has chosen not to have children and your twin has chosen children, those children you also have a soul connection with. I've even had people say that, like their twin is married to somebody else right now and had a new baby. And they're like, oh my goodness, like, what am I going to, like, this person's never going to leave their karmic partner now because they have a baby. But they're realizing on an energetic level that baby is theirs as well because that baby has a connection with them. Sorry, I keep saying that word and you're like,
No, I'm
Okay,
just
good.
I'm just thinking back that we've actually had a discussion similar to this 2, 3 years ago, talking about this,
Mm.
and that was when you brought up the point that that baby is also theirs as well. I gotta go wash my mouth out with pablum.
Oh Lord. Okay, I gotta move on.
Yes, continue on. Sorry I interrupted you.
So again, on a soul level, we're all connected. We're not just connected with our twin flame. We are connected with everybody. So if your twin has a child, or you have a child and your twin doesn't, there is a reason for that. That child has energy dynamics with everybody. Their parents, which one is your twin possibly, and the other is your twin's, or yeah, your twin's karmic partner, or vice versa. There's energy dynamics with everybody. You may know or find out that you have past lives with this child, or that your twin has past lives if it's your child. All sorts of dynamics go on energetically, and they're all for higher learning, higher reasons, higher connections. So know that there is reason. It's not by chance, and it's not that one of you kind of messed up and chose kids when the other one didn't, or that one of you didn't choose kids when the other one did. It's it's all divinely guided and purposeful in the higher realms.
Okay, I get to get myself in trouble. I'm gonna throw out.
Again?
I'm gonna yes, constantly. I'm gonna throw this out here.
Don't throw it too hard.
Our yeah, as long as it doesn't stick to the wall. Twin flames. We are. Oh boy, I'm trying to remain humble. I got a bunch of unhumble words. Twin flames tend to be more love based than average. That's I'm not trying to be high and mighty. I'm just going upon my experience, having met many other twin flames now that I've had a chance to in my life. Uh, when having children, it's always been a thought that the child should be conceived from a point of view of love, and twin flames being very conscious of love. There we are.
Come here. She wants to go outside, but we're almost done.
We're almost done.
Come here. Come here.
I would think the twin
Good
flames
girl.
would be a little more choosy
Here,
of when to
come
have
say hi.
when to have children than people who are a little bit more subjected to sociological pressures of, get married, requisite 2 kids, 1 dog, 1 cat, 1 goldfish, 1 motorhome, 1 resort home, and then 2 jobs. Uh, the usual sociological pressures are not quite as prevalent in the twin flame world because we're very, very concerned about love. So there may be a trend there of being a little bit more choosy as to when to have children, and therefore maybe not as many children being conceived because love is where we start from, as opposed to
once we're consciously aware of
once
it.
we're
Until
consciously
then,
aware.
when you're stuck in
Yeah.
your 3D self, you don't have a clue sometimes.
Now that's not a knock on the other half of twins that have had children in their
No.
lives. Maybe very, very well conceived in love.
Absolutely.
But still, I could understand where less children would be a lot closer to the path of twin flameism overall. It's just a thought. We can agree or disagree on that. Comments would be accepted. I hopefully didn't step over a line, and I hope it made sense. Because it's the answer that comes to me.
Okay, that's a fair answer. So we managed to make it through all the questions.
This was, I'm going to say this again. This was a tough batch of questions because they were a little bit deeper.
Yes.
And they were also extremely relevant. The 2 conferences that we've been to, again, Chicago and Boston, there was a lot of talk that delved into the energies that were around these questions. And it was just as difficult for 30 people or 40 people to talk about it as it is for 2, because they are tough questions, but they're the questions that need to be mulled over and felt and meditated on. And then for as individuals, the aha moments come along where something that is spoken by someone all of a sudden clicks in and makes a little bit of sense. And then you're able to continue on with it. So as much as they're tough questions, they had to be discussed as best we could.
Yep. And you did better than you thought.
Yeah, I did. I was quite apprehensive. I was having an extra glass of water and a little bit of chocolate before coming down here to get myself all energized up. Uh-oh, there's the sugar getting in the way, the low vibrational stuff.
It was dark chocolate.
It was dark chocolate. Now it's dark low energy. Oh.
Okay, apparently it's time to go.
Yeah, okay.
We made it through the whole video without getting giddy until the end, though. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, we always do.
No, we don't.
I always get pumped right in the second half of the video. Because that's when things really, really start to flow with me.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a ton of fun. We'll be doing this more every month.
Every month until we're done our story videos, and then we can do it more.
Yeah. There'll be something that'll come up out of this Q&A or our story videos where questions will come up that we'll snag and save for the next question and answer. And if we need more material, we can always ask. You folks have got tons of material for us.
Yes, you have great questions. We love your questions.
And the questions that make us think are good for us too.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
just
helps
because
us grow.
Sure. Just because we've managed to make it to union doesn't mean we don't have a bunch of questions to still ask.
Completely.
And,
doesn't mean we know it all.
Oh.
We're all learning.
Never learn it all. There's just too much.
In fact, one of the things I loved most out of both Chicago and Boston was we are all teachers and we are all students.
Yes.
I love that because it's so true. It's not like there's a hierarchy of we know it all and we're here to coach you and teach you. No, we learn from you just as much.
Sure, there may have been the facilitators that were there. They may have been the questions may have been directed towards them, but we were all sitting in one big circle for those two conferences.
Yeah.
And it was because we were all equal in our knowledge or together in our knowledge.
Yep.
Loved it.
We're all wise beings. It's just tapping into it, right? And on that note, before we go on and on, we're going to say goodnight. Even though it might not be good night in your world, it is in our world.
It's almost good morning in some people's world.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is true. So good morning, or good night, or good afternoon, or good evening. We love you guys. We love having fun with you, and I hope we make you laugh the way we make ourselves laugh.
Yes.
And we'll connect again soon. I'm going to say the word soon, just for fun. Not angel time soon. Human time soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.